Okay, first exercise. Handling and getting used to the weapon. So when we hold the partisan, like I already told, it's not like spear, not from the bottom. It's if you divide the thing in 3 parts, something like this. This would be your usual grip of the weapon. Okay? Some here, some here. Yep. So the first thing to do, slide your grip and change it. Side to side. Try not to do this, okay, but slide it. You can move a bit, find the rhythm. Always try to stop it so that the point of balance where it should be with a proper partisan is on your upper hand. Yep. Because when we change grips on the go, we'll want to end up in the good place, the good grip. Let go. The next thing, minding your surroundings, strap your thing like this. Okay, and now start to make a circle on top. Your upper hand should stay on the spot, straight. Yep. And use your back muscles to move the thing. It's not supposed to be like a hurricane of death, but just small circles with your upper body and shoulder. Next one, similar to the changing of the grips. Now, we start like so. Right leg forward, hip forward, okay? Slide your left hand down and turn your guard. Slide the back hand down and swing it over. When you start with the right leg forward, you turn the tip of your spear to the right, let it go around, change your guard. Turn to the left and go around. After you do the change, have a bit of moment and check your grip on the spear. Is the upper hand in the proper place? The lower hand in the proper place? Okay? Yep, go. Next one is probably a bit rough for the people who haven't done it before, but with partisans and spears, you need the wrist and everything strength. So you can also practice like this. Grab it like this. Let it dip. Bring it up. This can be warm up, but it also doubles up as a bit of conditioning training. If you want to make it lighter, of course, slide it down and don't hit yourself in the face with the butt. But the moment is the same. Make it as controlled as you can. Bring it up and change hands. This is not a movement for fighting. Another option is the same grip, but now you tip it to your left. Bring it up to the right. Bring it up, and so on. Of course, try to use your body so that your hand stays upright or in front of you and straight. Like so. Use both hands and try it out. And And this one, of course, sucks the most. You start like so, extend your arm, straight arm, bring it down, back up. The tip should be showing at your most annoying student's face. That's really good. Straight arm, engage your body to the movement. Yep. Training part. We're going to have a brief look into the guards. There are not many that we use with the partisan. We're going to do the attacks, mostly practice the thrusts, because that's the thing that we're going to do most. Have a look at the cuts. After we have done those without the partner, we're going to do the parries, the most important part. And those we start to do straight away with the partner. So we get to the nice grinding point of nailing down how to do the attacking properly and the defending properly. We're going to do those in a fairly simple manner, and then start to combine them a bit towards the end of this first half. Okay? So, the first guard and the guard that you are using most with partisan, I'm going to call this porta di ferro stretto because porta di ferro stretto is one of the most common guards with swords. Okay? So, all guards are the same. Left hand forward, right hand forward, doesn't matter. So, if you have the right leg forward and right hand. Okay? Check your grips, not too low, but closer to the tip or the iron. Okay? Hands about the width of your shoulders. Okay? And it's in front of your belly, like so. The tip on the right side is not pointing at your opponent, it's pointing to the side. Also, when it's pointing to the side, it's pointing slightly downwards. It's up to you whether it's closer to the opponent, the tip, or more to the side. It's about how much you want to invite. Okay? But something like this. Okay? Because here it's going to be ready and inviting your opponent to strike. We know that in Bolognese fencing we always try to strike for the moment that your opponent strikes at you, so we get the parry and punish them for striking us. If we are like this, okay, like I already showed you, this is not a good place to be, okay, because the one who is nastier and faster will cut the fingers. Yeah, to invite and hide your hand a bit from your opponent. So, practice this first. On this porta di ferro stretto. Okay? When you're like this, you can change your side to the other same guard. Okay? You can change it like so. And feel free to take some freeform steps while you do it. Moving backwards, moving forwards, so on. But always check that you end up in nice porta di ferro stretto. If we are pointing at our opponent, we might be tempting them to do something, or pressing them, or whatever. But in those cases, we do have this occasionally, but always with a plan. We could call this porta di ferro alta, so the high porta di ferro. The last one, the porta di ferro stretto, means the narrow porta di ferro, which is the narrow in the sense that we are about to strike each other soon in the face. But this would be porta di ferro alta. We're not going to do it too much today, but just for you to know. Another, what we do more often, we could call this porta di ferro larga, so the wide porta di ferro. It would be this. So both hands straight-ish, and on your side. Yep. We mostly end up here after cutting some. Because when we cut, after the cut passes, we will be exposed, so it's a good idea to pull your arms back, and also take a few steps back. But this would be porta di ferro larga, same on the other side.
inside and outside by being more across, or is it fully on the side?
Yes, okay. So, in relation to my opponent, my spear, or partisan, is on my inside, okay, on my chest side. Because, let's say, I trusted Henka has parried, I made a cut, yeah? After this moment, Henka dodged it, I step back, like so, because I wanted to get the distance in case Henka gets pissed and tries to stab me back. This is something that we do on the latter half. So, I poke, cut, Henka goes back, we use this to cover and strike again. But you'll get examples of this. But to the side. This one, well, you know, we always want to expose one side and close one side so we can have a bit of control where the possible strike is coming. Yeah? This is just for show. So, stringere porta would be with the crossed feet, something like this. Or like this, or like this, but we're not really gonna do those today. These are just for you guys to know. And maybe make some connections to the other Bolognese stuff that you know. Yep. So the same-ish principles, or the same principles will apply to the stuff we do with the partisan. Of course, the weapon is just a bit different. But in some sense, it's not too different from a two-handed sword. Our main tool, the thrust. When we thrust, we can thrust in three levels, or the Marozzo talks about thrusting into three places basically. It's in the up, face, head, okay, body, or the feet. Some extra details would be thrust to the flank, thrust to the arm, but this would be of course the torso part. To the head, sometimes thrust to the neck, and so on, but those are just extra damage. Legs, where we want to strike is the thigh. Okay? We cut the thigh, poke the thigh, but that's it. Yep. So think about three levels when we do things. Yeah. Okay, now if we're right and forward, like so. At this, for the time being, don't slide your hands when you do thrust. Just hold it as it is. Okay? So we can throw a thrust to the head. Return. Okay? Thrust to the head. Return. Thrust the body. Return. Thrust the body. Return. Legs. Legs. And so on. It's very simple. It gets more complicated when we're doing the plays. And for example, I'm thrusting back in a quick succession. For example, to the legs. Sometimes we want to lift the spear here, so I can thrust the legs. If I feint it here and you parry, yep, behind the hello. Go high, I poke the leg and back up. This would be the thrust. But if I feint high, they parry, and I advance, I might want to have my partisan across my face. Marozzo really doesn't say much about how to cover yourself, but those are the connections that we must make for ourselves and see from the stuff that he explains. Now, keep it simple. Thrust. Change your guard. Thrust. Change your guard. Thrust. Change your guard. Thrust. When I thrust, I'm going to advance my front leg slightly and bring it back. Turn it. Thrust. Bring it back. And so on. So the other way, and maybe not the most common, but let's say the other way of thrusting is with a slide. So when I'm in my neutral guard, when I start to thrust, I extend my grip a bit, thrust slightly further, reset back, change, extend, slightly longer. But this part of extending and always returning, it just needs to be in your muscle memory and you can grind it a bit. We're not going to use time for that today. Also, it's a bit less safer when you don't thrust so far. Too possible. However, we need to remember that there are no mentions about this type of thrust. Because even if I can recover from this, I'm going to have to take some distance right up. And if Jussi extends the cuts like this, it's not uncommon, especially if I get the parry from this side. If I make a big knock, Jussi might lose his grip while I'm doing this. And this is not a healthy place to be. So we want to have good, strong lever in our grip when we do things, because these hit hard. And the point is to hit hard and aggressive. Yep. So, well, today, and when you practice and what you take home from the seminar, remember that we don't do these things with partisan. Okay? For example, in Chinese beer, which I've been doing a lot, is that we thrust like so. Because the tips are like this. They're very nimble. Like this. This kind of thing. So I can thrust like this. If Jussi knocks it, I can just move it around. This is a very different thing to do. And we cannot do it with partisan. Or we could, because these are a bit lighter than they should be. But if we want to practice with a historical weapon in a historical manner, we should practice as the real one would behave. So, don't extend too much. Let's do a bit of the sliding thrust for a taster, and then we move on to the cuts. So, exactly the same thing. If we start with the right leg forward. Okay? You extend your grip. The thrust. Okay? Pull it back. Then do the side check. Extend. Thrust. Get back. Extend. Thrust. Get back. You always want to be here. You'll see when we start with the parry, that if you're like this, it's not a good place to be if you want to parry with partisan. If you want to parry with partisan, you need to be like this in a middle grip, because we use we use the half to catch it, or we use the iron to catch it. It's not going to be usable like this. Okay? So always return. So the cuts. Like I told, the cuts are not smashes like this with powder. They are more like drawing cuts or shearing cuts. Okay? So you, of course, there's the impact, but you pull the cuts either to the hands, fingers, sometimes to the face. Well, sometimes to the leg. It's either the hand or the legs where we do the cuts. And one rule of thumb, you never open up your attack with a cut. Okay? So, if my opponent has a tip towards me, or even like this, if I start with a cut, this moment is not a good place for me because there might be poking my face or cut my hand. So, whenever we cut, it's going to be both that you have to parry, just put kind of symbol here, which we continue with the cut. So it's always poke, cut, retreat. Yeah? We're going to do this with a partner today a lot, so let's do it a few times without partner and then go forward. Okay? Go right leg forward, cross, and now, usually, if my opponent has thrust at me, I have done this, and now after I knocked it out, you can cut my leg with the same motion. Yeah? Okay, if there's a cut, pistol is. If there's a thrust, I knock it to the side, and now you can cut. Yeah? So this is how it works. It's always after thrust, it gets knocked to the side, then you swipe it back. Yeah? Do it on both sides. Thrust, cut, change the sides. Thrust, cut, change. Thrust, cut. And most of the time when you want to cut, or you decide to cut, or you can cut, you first go right to the head or the body, and then you cut the hand or the leg. So, let's move to the partner exercise part. We have two ways of parrying with the partisan. with the iron or with the hand. We're going to first have a look at the parrying with the iron because, well, they're both used a lot. So, if I'm in my usual guard, like so, I'm exposing myself like a proper Bolognese fencer. So, Jussi has a chance to either go for my upper body or for my legs, like so. Okay? If I was like this, well, the fingers obviously, but if I was like this, Jussi would first have to engage with my weapon and then attack me. Okay? That might put me in a disadvantage. So, whenever we fight, I want to invite and make Jussi to attack me. When I want Jussi to attack me, it doesn't mean that I just have the tonninseteli face and stare. It might work, but I also can do moving, annoying him, yeah? As long as I'm ready for the attack that is coming. So, provoke, but you also wait. Waiting doesn't mean that you just don't do anything. Waiting means that you are actively waiting, provoking, and opening the spots. So, the first parry, if I'm in my normal guard, Jussi thrusts at my upper body, chest or face, yeah, like so. The first parry happens so that from here, when Jussi thrusts, I'm going to put my arm, my receiver, Jussi's receiver actually. So, slap it to my belt, raising the tip, okay? Like so. Tip staying forward. Okay? This. When I parry, I'm not supposed to move my feet. I want to be sturdy on my spot and just check it. Okay? Like so. That's the upper body. If Jussi goes for my feet, I raise my fist to my temple. Yep. Like so. You see that it's a fairly hard parry, so make sure that you don't chop your training partner's fingers, for example. So do it with caution first. Okay. Check it. Check it. Like so. Okay? So either the lower parry, fist to your temple, the higher parry, fist to your belt. The front hand doesn't really do anything. It's just the structure for the lever. Okay? And this doesn't mean that it doesn't do anything. It will be very strong under your spear. So when you use the thrusts, I'm not gonna only do this, but I'm also gonna do with my body slight movement like this to give it the structure. Okay? This strong parry and then side back. Yeah? Makes sense? Any questions? Not yet. Grab your masks, take a partner, and start training. If you are ill with a steel spear, be very careful. Now, as you have had time to practice and get used to the basic techniques, you probably notice that it's not very long the thrust that you can make. It's not a spear thrust. Okay? The fighting distance with the partisan is something like maybe this. Okay? Or maybe half step longer. Like so. But it's very close. So another thing that you can add to your understanding partisan versus spear is that you need to be close enough to almost shit yourself. Because this, when we parry, when Jussi attacks, it's going to be fast. I don't have time to make footwork. I'm going to have to stand firm, be very ready, and be ready to parry. This, okay? Or if it comes slow, this. Yep. It's very much closer than the spear distance. Okay? So, the proper grip, yeah? And the proper use of the front hand. In the very close distance, this might not cut it. And also we have a different solution if we don't have the time to parry with the iron. We're going to look into that in a few minutes. Okay? Do a bit more, ask questions, and then we proceed. Okay, so there are moments that we don't have time to bring the iron in front of us, or we have a cunning plan. We're We're going to look at the situations a bit later, but now we're going to just see how the parry works. And this one is the challenging parry. Be a bit careful with it, because it might land, because the tolerances are small. Firstly, the grip needs to be proper. With this grip, when we parry like this, the tolerance of making a mistake is quite small. Like this, we have much more distance between the parry and our face or body. So, when you use the thrust at my face, or upper body, doesn't matter. Okay? We can parry it with the haft. Marozzo also calls this mezza volta, the name of the parry. So when you use the thrusts, I knock it to the side with the part that is between my arms. Yeah? Again. Like so. Again, the front hand is the support. The back hand goes as much as behind my head, depending on your mobility. Mine doesn't go much further, but anyways. This, okay, over the head, you're gonna use your back and chest to do this movement, because the cranking of the arms will not be enough. You're gonna have to be strong in this moment. Yeah? And also there's an element of also lifting and knocking the strike. Yeah? So if you use the strikes at my head, of course not like this, but this movement is an element of the parry. So when you use the strikes, in addition to turning it, I'm also knocking it. Yeah? So this is what we're going to do next. This parry, if I was in porta di Ferrolarga, exposing my backside to Jussi, he could go for my head, parry. He could go for my body, parry. He could go for my leg, parry. Okay? Basically, when you parry with the iron, you always parry to the inside, your chest side. When you parry with the haft, it's to the outside. That's the rule of thumb. Yeah? But now, start with this. It doesn't matter if I'm like this or this. Jussi goes for my upper body. I'll be ready. Parry, reset. Okay, go again. Parry, reset. One more. Parry, reset. Then we switch, and so on. Don't do the parries to the legs or anything like this yet. You get to experiment those and experience those in the latter part. Yeah? So now, just get used to mezza volta or parry with the haft. Go. When I do this parry, mezza volta, the front hand is allowed to move. Okay? This gives you more range of movement when you parry. If you use the strikes, I only move my backhand. The range is fairly small. Okay? But when you use the strikes and I move both of my hands like this, the range is quite a bit bigger. Yeah? Obviously, I cannot do it like this. Or let's say Jussi does it wrong. So when I thrust and Jussi parries, if he goes way too wide like this, because of course this gives you the widest motion. But if Jussi goes like this, it's a very small thing for me to slip through. So when Jussi parries, yep, he's going to turn his elbow to get more motion, but he also leaves the tip somewhat in present. Okay? Because when I strike, and Jussi's tip is here, that's not gonna encourage me to go forward. Yeah? So always try to keep the tip somewhat towards your opponent. But now the big point is that use the elbow and the crank of your front hand too. Yeah? Because you need the big motion. This is not enough. You need to be able to cover all of your front like so. Okay. Those two parries, the iron and the haft, are the bread and butter of partisan. Poking is relatively easy, but defending against it with partisan is not so simple, because it's a very good offensive weapon, but it leaves a lot to wish for as a defensive tool. Obviously, if you have ranks of people with longer spears next to you and you are just a specialist between the ranks, or you are a guardsman looking to take down some unwashed fools, it's a good weapon, but yeah. So let's put these two together in a bit more, well, very essential exercise. If you're like this, if I attack Jussi, if parry, now, if he immediately, the same tempo, goes back at my face, this, not like me. Because for Jussi, this is exactly what he wants to happen. Like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. No. Okay? In those moments, if I was cautious, I might have time to parry. But if Jussi is fast and quick and on the right time, my only option is to do this and maybe to take some distance, or do my next move. Yeah? But the second tempo, attack, parry, back, I need to be really quick with this one. Yeah? And now, move back. We never should stay posing, of course we're just showing stuff now. But let's say I attack, I parry, I will cut the fingers if I can. So now, the next exercise. I'm going to attack the face, the parries, I parry with the haft, and that will be right. Okay? That, protect, go back. Also could be low, high, and retreat. Doesn't matter. But only the Jussi's counter will be always up, because I will be using my haft to parry. Yep? So, back, parry, reset. Back, parry, reset. Yeah? Make sense? Back and forth. Go! Okay, so we've pretty much covered everything on the basics folder on the first part. Obviously there's a lot more. We just did the things. The next step would do them a lot more, get really familiar with them, then make them as dynamic exercises, and so on. And then put them into use and start to recognize the context, when to do, what to do, and so on. But of course, this is only one seminar. So this next part of the seminar, we're going to have a look at the plays. So for one, maybe most importantly, you get the idea of how Marozzo teaches us how to fight with the partisan, because what we just did were standalone basics exercises. So this will give you an idea how to fight with it, okay? And what kind of tactics are involved and so on. But also a bit longer plays. I have 4 things to show you. First 2 are fairly simple. The first is the reverence, that's what we do when we start a duel with someone. Okay. The next one is the stringere, or the concept of stringere, means the squeezing the opponent. And the next 2 are a bit more longer plays. Any questions at this point? Yep, okay. And in the end, if you have time and energy, we can have something resembling Freeplay, or at least a bit more dynamic exercises. Okay, so the reverence looks like this. For training purpose, if you want to show off to an audience, or if you want to just be polite to your opponent, but also the reverence and the things that they are like embellishments and set things that you're supposed to do before a fight or before a duel or so. In Chinese tradition, for example, you do certain things. They are not meant to hurt your opponent, but they are meant to signify that you are of this lineage, you are this student of this master. So it's also for showing that I've learned my stuff from here. Of course, it has a social and psychological and so on impacts. Anyways, starting like so. Legs close together, right foot forward, okay. The butt of the partisan in front of your feet, of foot. Bit more sideways, right side forward. Okay? So, we start the reverence by turning. This is the bowing part. Okay? We shift to right, shift forward, and get ready. Nothing more special than that. Just a cool thing to know. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, and get ready to do what you do. Yep. Okay, let's do it a few times together so you get to try it. So we have done the reverence and we stand ready. Okay? The important concept in Bolognese fencing is the stringere, the squeezing. The squeezing means that I'm advancing, pushing him to do something. Yep. Preferably attack. Because in duo, in this moment, you either engage honorably, or you flee, or back up, and that's not so honorable. You don't want to get covered, you want to be the stronger person. Okay? So, stringere is something that we will use a lot. So I start to push. You see, I'm not going yay and get stabbed in the face. Okay? But I'm going like so. Come at me, bro, so I get to own him. Okay? That's the big point of stringere. We're not going to do this a long time. I just want to show it to you because it's an important concept and so on. So, advance, you see. Gather, advance slightly. Gather, advance slightly. I don't want to have these moments in my advancing because every time I'm moving, it's a good tempo for you to attack me. Okay? So I go it very slowly. Yep. Now, my spear is pretty much in the middle, so it gives Jussi a choice either to go for my head or for my leg. If I went like this, he would probably want to go to my upper body. So with stringere, you can also open some things and close some things, and thus have control on what's going to happen next. So, last show. I'll advance. And Jussi feels like it, he's going to attack either my head or leg. I'll be ready. Strike back. Of course here, Jussi could parry with the haft. And then we would back up or fight some more. But this is the exercise. Squeeze. Jussi attacks. I get it. Strike back. And that's it. Yep. Let's do this a few times with a partner. We call this the fourth play today. So this one gives you nice ideas how to use the cut, and also an example of the longer string of actions. So we're like this, on the different legs forward. Okay? Most of the time in Marozzo's plays, he wants to be the patient, meaning that I want my opponent to attack me first, so I can get back at him. In this play, I want to be the agent, so the one who initiates the play. Okay? Obviously, when I want to attack my opponent, if I attack with full commitment here, yep, this is what we don't want, obviously. And it's completely opposite of what the Bolognese theory teaches. So, when I want to be the first to attack, my first action is to provoke and to feint, in this case, feint mode. Okay? So I do this. Yep, okay. I want to get a reaction from my opponent. Yep. One, and now I try to hit with this one. Okay. Yep, like so. So we start with this. Okay. One, and thrust. And then of course, back up. When I thrust, we very often provoke towards the face. Because if you think about sharp tips, sharp blades coming at your face, it's something that will make you react. unless you're a bit brain dead, but nobody is from here, I hope. So, if I poke towards his eyes, he will want to do something, and in this case, gave me a spot to thrust. Yep. This is how we start. Last shot. Here, okay, 1, thrust, get away. Watch him bleed. Go. When I provoke this, and now I'll go to the other side. When I strike, Jussi will be in a hurry to parry my next strike. Okay? So when I start from here, so 1, 2, yep. Because the idea of the feint is that I'm gonna make 2 actions in 1 tempo. In 2 actions in 2 tempo would be this. It would be 1, 2. Jussi is fine with this. But the idea is that I'm going to poke the other side when Jussi is still going to the first side. So it's going to be like this. And he's going to have to hurry for the next one. Yep, a bit more slowly. So I start 1, 2. We didn't practice this parry because it's not very optimal place to be. We use it when we have to. But now when Jussi parry is this way, my spear gets knocked to the right, and now immediately when the contact loses from here, I'm gonna swipe down on his arm and take my distance. Yeah? So, provoke, strike, cut, and then do what you do. Okay? 1, 2. Cut the fingers, and that's that. Yeah? 1, 2. Not this big, obviously. Cut it downwards, cross the wrist, fingers, pull it here, important for a largo. It's important that you end up here, in this case, because the play is going to continue from this point. Yep. Practice it as long as you want, so that you cut the partner's hand, with sense of course. But the defense for this moment is that when I thrust, I cut, Jussi is just going to pull the arm away, in porta di ferro largo as well. So in that moment your best bet is just not to be there. Yep, last shot. Gonna go 1, 2, 3. Okay, in the last shot with the evade, 2, 3, like so. Okay? Go, unless there is a question. No question. Go. So for the next trick in this sequence, I'm gonna go attack, feint, strike, cut the arm, use it, and pull the arm away like this, and immediately after my cut passes, it uses perfect chance to stab me. Yep. Good there. Go ahead. I can enjoy it. Yep. So, feint, strike, cut the arm, okay, and stab the leg. This obviously could be any stab because I'm exposing my right side. But for the sake of practicing the next move, let's go for the leg. Yeah? So, here's the tempo again, important part. So, 1, 2. Now as I strike Jussi's hand, perfect timing for Jussi is to strike right after my cut passes. Yep. Do it like this first, and when you get there, you start to be confident with it, we'll do the parry. Actually, never mind. Let's not do the parry yet. So, only 1, 2, 3, strike back. Yep. And for the next part, I need to be here properly if I want to be able to parry Jussi's strike. Okay? So make sure that after you cut, you pull back in a proper parry. Yep? Questions? Go. What's this? Okay. So now, feint, strike, cut, Jussi stab back. Yep? 1, 2, cut, parry to the side, cut, head, basically yes. Cut. Whatever is there. Yep. So I backed up here. Jussi goes to strike my leg. Mezza volta. Okay? Parry with the haft. Even though it's close to the iron now, but you remember when we parry the outside, it's parrying with the haft. And you see, I'm not only doing this, I'm also doing this, turning with my back and my hip, because I'm going to throw a big ass cut here and back it up and take my distance, and the next play will start from there. Okay? So now, after I poked here, tried to cut Jussi's arm, he went right back at me, parry, cut, and retreat. The tempo and the intention is really important now. I feign, cut. Jussi is really trying to stop me here, because according to the theory, it's a good place to stop. But of course, I'm ready for it, and now Jussi will have a hard time protecting himself. I'll show you the parry now. Okay? So again, start it like this. Practice the cut. Head, neck, chest, arm, leg, whatever is there. Also, 1, 2. Now, when I do this, if you see in the game, he can just basically run backwards. Yeah? But if he doesn't have time, like he probably won't, when I throw my cut, he can do mezza volta, raise his haft in front of him while backing up. Yep. So in a pinch, cover yourself, and then get the distance. It doesn't make you completely blissful this moment, because when you raises his arms, there is still plenty of things to cut. But it's better than getting cleat in the face. Okay? So, feign, strike, cut, right back, and get here. And this is a nice example sequence of how we could fence and how we can fence or spear after we get comfortable with the basic moves and how to respond to this, with that, and so on. Okay? So the new part is this. I'm here, you just poke my leg, turn it to the side. The cut is not like this. Not a super duper cut. It's here, bring it around, cut, and drop. Remember that we don't hack with this, we slice it. Yep. Go. Yes. So, this movement is not quite how Marozzo writes it, but still I learned it from Bolognese, so I'll consider it valid. It's for the last movement. Jussi pokes my leg. Previously we did this. This is pretty much what Marozzo tells us to do. However, what we can also do is, well, I told you where I learned it, but this is also a very normal thing to do with spears, whatever weapons, especially in the Chinese side of the weapons, but also in Europe. So, when Jussi thrusts, this moment, instead of letting go of the contact, Jussi thrusts, I keep the contact, force it down, and chop it up. Okay? So Jussi thrusts, 1, push it down, and chop it up. Yeah? 1, here, chop, get the distance. Yes. 1, of course, if I manage to do this force enough, Jussi might lose his grip here. Yep. And then we have a nice option to do something else. But this is the point. Parry, keep the contact. Lift it around. Chop upwards. And take your distance. Yep. Last chop. So parry the same way. Keep it. Lift it with your palm up. Push it down. And now as we're on the top, thrust again. Now, Jussi has parried it, okay? Jussi is gonna thrust me back. Yep, fairly normal. Pretty much the same what we did in the first half. How to parry, how to counter. Okay? Again. 1, 2. Strike back. I think we will be in this one. 1, 2. Strike back. Okay? Do you want to start with this or do we like one more move? Start with this. Okay. Go. So, feint. I strike. This parry what Jussi does is what I call falso parry because it's the similar what we do with the sword. So false edge to the outside. Marozzo doesn't give a name for this. I think he talks about knocking to the side or something. Anyways, I call it falso. So 1, 2. Danger with this that if Jussi is ready and he really falsos hard at me, this could happen. And Jussi's moment to strike is just going to strike me back at this moment, yep, like so. Okay? But that's just a danger point that you should remember on parries to that side. Okay, now, feint. Obviously, when I do something like this, I'm expecting Jussi to strike back at me. Okay? So when he does, I'll be ready. And this is where we end the play and get the distance. Nothing more complicated. Yep? So, feint, and get back. Okay? But I'm going to give you specific things to do here. So the first option. 1, 2. If I'm still able to bring my steel up, my iron up, I'm going to use it. So if you should push it here, and now it's going to come back at me, I'm going to do this and strike back. This depends on the distance. Yeah? But if you see a bit more ready and feint, now if it's coming back right away, I only have the option of the haft. I haft it, strike back, and get the distance. The problem here is that when Jussi strikes me, and I haft to the side, this happens in one tempo. Parry, strike, get away. Okay? Also in this situation, it's reasonable to think that when I strike, I feint, Jussi parry, okay? Now, this one, because I might want to keep my head clear with my spear. Poke it and get away. Lots of options. If we do it by the book, it's just haft, strike, get away. But the timing is again the most critical part. Yep. Again, the first option. Feint, strike. If I can, with the iron, strike back, retreat. The second option. 1, 2, haft, strike, and get back with it. Yeah? Pick one of the options, or 2, and go. This is the last thing we do today on the technical part. So we're going to practice this for a moment, and then I'm going to show you some simple free play exercises that you can try out, and we can do some free play and so on. Yes? Go. The next thing we're going to do for the last 40-ish minutes, let's say 30 minutes, we can try out stuff, you can ask about stuff, you can ask how this works, or can you show this again, and all that. Yep. Also what you can do, you can put your gear on, or if you don't have gear, just do it anyways, but in a smart manner. You can do some kind of free play. I can give you options of how to do free play, because most of the time, if we right now just start to do free play, it's going to be shit. And it's going to be shit for a long time before you learn the language, the basic moves, the basic attacks, the basic tactics. If we just start to do free play, you're going to just revert back to what you already know. And if you want to practice this, of course we need to do the movements that are connected to this. One way to do free play at this point is to go one-on-one, so 2 tempi free play, if you want to call it free play. So we could go like this. I'll attack, Jussi parries. Jussi strikes back, I parry. I'll attack, Jussi goes back. And so on. You just exchange back and forth. That's really simple, of course, but it gets you used to the basics. You cannot do anything too complicated with this, but I can promise you that it will be complicated and hard enough as it is, like this. Another option that you can do is to remind yourself of one of the plays. So let's say the last play we did. Okay, I'm gonna provoke, strike, Jussi's gonna parry. And now after Jussi's parry, okay, after this moment, Jussi can do the thing that happens in the play. Of course, that would be the thrust. Or after Jussi parries, he could reasonably throw cut to my arm. Yep. Or he could thrust my leg or whatever. Or even after I do feint, Jussi parries, I can keep going. But the point is that you start with a set sequence, which is in this case feint, strike, Jussi parries, and after this you see what happens. In this way, you get to practice the thing that you want to learn, and you get used to the moment, what happens after the play, and you start to incorporate other things you know. But I suggest that you always practice like this, and not just do free play, because in free play, most of the time you will not do what you want to do, because your opponent probably doesn't want you to do them what you want to do to them. Yes. So, two choices. I suggest that you start with exchanging one strike. Strike, parry, strike, parry, strike, parry, strike, parry. That's a good way to get used to the thing. Also, what you can do, just do again what we have been